Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is Chairman Mitz. Mary Beth Mitz won't be here tonight, so we'll have to appoint or elect another chairman for tonight's meeting.
So I'll move to have Ed Lane serve as temporary chairman.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll move on with the meeting. Announcements from the chair. We have CTSB recording and
Head southeast on Walker Street, then continue straight.
Clarence trying to record. Looking for directions to get here, right? That was yours. Okay, so no announcements from the chair. Well, actually, I guess I could make one off the cuff here. Is, the COVID thing is getting crazy. So if anybody's out there listening to us tonight, be very careful. Take all the precautions you can take, because it's just getting worse and worse every day. So take that for what it is. So a motion to accept the minutes of December 15th.
I move to accept the minutes of December 15th.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And anybody here for citizens open forum? Hearing none, we'll move the meeting right into the consent agenda. First one is, both of them are donations. Donation acceptance for the police. Chief Steve O'Brien is seeking your approval for a monetary donation to the police department. And the other one is donation to the fire department. And Chief Chris O'Brien is seeking your approval of a monetary donation to the fire department.
So I move we accept the monetary donations or the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So the next order of business is a transfer and change of manager for Cafe Lucia. So I'll just read what it's about, and then we'll open the public hearing. West Marble Table Inc., doing business as Cookout, is seeking a transfer and change of manager of an annual all-alcoholic restaurant license for property located at 80 Church Street. The clerk shall read the legal notice as it appeared in the paper, followed by a motion to open the public hearing. Attorney Jeff Lynch will be present to answer any questions. Once the discussion is over, a motion is necessary to close the public hearing. Following that, a motion to approve or disapprove the transfer and change of the manager of an annual all-alcoholic license to West Marble Table Inc., doing business as Cookout, for property located at 80 Church Street. James Blanchard, manager. So if we'll have the clerk read the notice.
I'm the clerk today. Town of Lenox, notice of public hearing, Board of Selectmen. Notice is hereby given that a hearing will be held by the Board of Selectmen in their capacity as licensing board on the application for a transfer and change of manager of an all-alcoholic restaurant license, which has been filed with the local licensing board by West Marble Table Inc., DBA, Cookout, for premises located at 80 Church Street, Lenox, and consisting of a restaurant on the first floor with an outdoor dining area. The interior dining area includes a bar, seating for 12, and dining room which seats 45. The outdoor patio can seat 45 with additional space in the lawn area of the premises to serve additional patrons. The outdoor area is fenced and accessible from a rear parking lot and the sidewalk. The board will act on said application on Wednesday, December 29th, 2021 at 6 p.m. in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, Town Hall Building, Lenox, Mass. Mary Beth Mitz, Chairman, Lenox Board of Selectmen.
Motion to open the public hearing.
I move to open the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I've already read the, what we're here to talk about, so if Attorney Lynch could step forward and explain what he needs to explain.
Okay, thank you very much. Nice to see everybody. West Marble Table Inc. is the applicant. That business is owned by Ryan Salem, and he is also the owner of North Sandy Brook LLC, which will own the real estate. This transaction, as you might be aware, has already occurred, already closed, and so now we're dealing with the transfer of the liquor license itself. Jane Blanchard, who is with me tonight, is the proposed manager. Ms. Blanchard is familiar to this board in town as being an excellent steward of the Heritage Tavern and Firefly, and now we're proposing that she also be the manager for Cafe Lucia. I think about a month and a half ago, there was a change to lighten her responsibility a little bit, so she's no longer the manager of the Heritage Tavern. So this is going to be, as the application stated, a cantina-style tapas restaurant. So a change from what Cafe Lucia traditionally has been for the many years that it was open. Ryan is looking forward to doing some interior renovations. Andy has some bigger plans, so I fully anticipate that the board may see me here again in another month or so with some detailed renovation plans for the property. The purpose of doing it in 2 steps is because we were anxious to try to get the closing in during the 2021 year, and so we were able to put together the application to make the transfer of the license happen, the change of the manager, and then we'll do a second step in the coming months to give you a little bit more detail and insight into what the plans will look like. But it will be a nice restaurant, as you can imagine, as are his other holdings in town. And may even utilize the other property that's adjacent on Tucker Street that was also purchased with this transaction. Both were always in ownership of the former owners of the Cafe Lucia. Jane, as you're aware from her other applications, is experienced in the restaurant industry. She checks all the boxes and then some for being an excellent choice to help manage and transition this new operation. So we're looking forward to, again, opening another restaurant and keeping downtown Lenox vibrant, and so we request your approval of this application.
Thank you, Jeff. And we're glad to help you do this by the end of the year. I know it's a timetable thing, so.
Yeah, it was more of the actual closing. That's why a lot of times we see with these restaurant purchases that the purchase doesn't actually occur until the license is fully transferred. Right. In this case, we were relatively confident with the history of Mr. Salem and Ms. Blanchard that we would be able to transact this piece of the sale after we already purchased the real estate in the business. So,
all right, good stuff. Jane, do you have anything to add?
No, that pretty much covers it. We're going to have a long winter of renovations, and yeah, I mean, we're just at the stage of standing inside going, what are we going to do? How can we do it? Can we do it? You know, that sort of thing. The architect and my contractor and such really feeling things out of what Ryan would like to do and what we would like to do. So, yeah. Hence the next step once we know better what we can do.
We all understand that next step, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it will be in the hands of contractors and how long, how quickly we can get it done.
Mm-hmm. David, do you have any questions or
I don't. Just want to wish you best of luck.
Thank you.
Good seeing you again.
Yeah.
Hope we see you more.
Yeah, never say never.
You're going to be busy.
Warren, do you have anything?
Same, good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so with that, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Somebody should make it. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So if we have a motion. Last one.
I move to approve the transfer and change of manager application of West Marble Table A, DBA Cookout, dated November 29th, 2021.
Is there a second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Thank you, you as well. Have a good one.
Right now.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
May change though, but that's how it's presented, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so next on our general business, we're going to have a fiscal 2022 briefing and preliminary fiscal 2023 outlook given to us by Town Manager Chris Ketchum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really do want to emphasize the brevity of this. I know that, our primary reason for meeting tonight was to approve the license application, but whereas the special act calls for, a preliminary operating budget to be due to you next week, actually, believe it or not, I did want to give a heads up, since we don't meet for another 2 weeks. I wanted to give a heads up to the board of some of what we're seeing both in our current fiscal year as well as directionally where I think we're headed in FY23. One of the big points of emphasis that I want to place on the FY23 operating budget is we are seeing cost escalation. That's clear both in terms of things like energy costs. We are seeing a fair amount of health insurance migration from eligible dependents and spouses of current employees. We're not seeing any escalation at all, and we're not anticipating any escalation in rates, thanks to the Berkshire Health Group and Lindsay Patnod, who's our representative there, managing to keep the rate structure stable. But we are seeing some migration from eligible spouses and dependents, and that is going to result in higher costs. We're seeing an 8% increase in our Berkshire County retirement assessment, which is going to, again, drive up costs. We're seeing...
Why is there a big increase?
That's a good question. They have an aggressive funding schedule to try to achieve full funding status, which creates the last table that I saw had an aggregate year-over-year increase of 7%, which we can debate it all we want, whether you want to talk about how the market seems to be doing very well, so why are assessments to communities and school districts needing to be so high? But we're within 1% of their target, and the fact of the matter is, the way that the law works, they issue an assessment and we have to pay it. So that's a fixed cost that we are saddled with, and we're not far off of their benchmark. But it's a point of contention that I think we go over every year. Not a whole lot we can do about it, but it's a real thing we have to deal with.
It seems since I've been here 10 years or so, that every year we're close to that fully funded number, but it just never seems to get there.
It is.
I know you have no answer for
it's
that.
Not well, other than it's not an observation you make in isolation. So that being said, we keep in mind we also have collective bargaining agreements to negotiate with all three of our labor unions, as well as many of our contract employees. So while it won't necessarily be reflected in the departmental operating budgets for strategic reasons, we will have to make provision for that. So these are all a number of things that are pressing up against the town on the expense side. I say that not to be doom and gloom, because what I have to say next mitigates some of that. But I just want everyone, the board especially, but the public generally, to be prepared that the tabular percentages that you're likely to see when we finalize everything as a team are going to look different from the way they have in years past, and that's not different in a good way. On the flip side, so far we are holding our own both on the expense side and the revenue side in the current fiscal year, which bodes well for FY23, at least from a stability point of view, with the exception of a couple of items. I mean, I'm anticipating, while I don't have anything in the bank yet, the reports that I'm getting is that you should be prepared, at least, for very positive news around the lodging tax revenue. So stay tuned on that, but I think that will at least help us in both preservation of our reserve position, which is already very strong, as well as hopefully offset the tax impact of some of these other cost escalations that we're seeing in order to maintain services. So keep all of those things in mind. I guess the main takeaway here is things are going to look different. I think going into the next fiscal year, both in positive aspects on the revenue side and some negative aspects on the expense side. So it's not going to be business as usual.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't want to belabor the point because I know we are all sensitive about this public meeting, but I do think that does need to be said in advance of next week.
Well, there's no question about it. I think we all understand that we're going to have some really tough decisions to make as far as spending goes in the next year. Different. It's a different year, different things, whole different ball game. And I'm glad to hear that there may be positive news on our hotel motel tax, and we'll wait to see what that number is and how we should fit that into our budget.
Indeed.
So
Yeah.
next couple of weeks will be interesting.
Interesting is an interesting word.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I understand what's going on.
Well,
Sounds good.
Well, thanks for indulging me on that.
okay, Chris, thank you very much. So next we'll move on to liaison reports. Does anybody have anything to talk about?
Other than wishing everybody a happy new year, I really don't. Yeah, and reiterate what you said, stay healthy.
Yeah.
Be careful, stay healthy.
Nothing to report?
No, I don't either. Again, happy new year, and yeah, everybody take it serious. This COVID stuff is really hitting hard, so take it serious. Chris, you have something?
I do have one thing I would like to say. While I was at home enjoying the Christmas holiday season, I do want to thank the public safety, but in particular the public works staff who had to leave their homes to make sure the roads were clear for those of us who were traveling. So I wanted to extend my personal appreciation publicly to them. While I was enjoying Christmas, they were working. So thank you.
They do a good job, and even though it's been the year like Clarence says, there's no snow, but they're out all the time because a night like this, it's going to be drizzly and rainy tonight, and the temperature's going to drop to 30. So they got to salt the roads. It's the way it is. Even though we don't see big snow piles, they're out there doing their job. So thanks for them. All right, so with that, our next regular meeting is Wednesday, January 12th at 6 p.m., and I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.